Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to another YouTube channel video, everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the first episode of Moon Knight, Episode 1, The Goldfish Problem, Season 1. But before we get started talking about my thoughts on Episode 1 of Moon Knight, let's go ahead and kind of talk about what were my thoughts going into the Moon Knight show. So for me, when they first announced that they were going to be bringing Moon Knight into the MCU and making it into a Disney Plus TV series, I was actually really excited because I have seen certain stuff of the Moon Knight character, and the only thing is I was kind of stupid at the time that I didn't really know how they could make this character into a TV show. So I was a bit confused of how they were able to do that and have all these other characters into it and all that. So I was curious to see how they were able to make it come true. But, the thing is that, I also heard that he's like the Batman of the Marvel Universe, and that all this Egyptian stuff with the moon gods, all that sounds pretty cool. But the way I was introduced to his character was that he actually appeared on some of the animated Marvel shows on Disney XD and Disney Channel, and he was in Ultimate Spider-Man, where he was helping Spider-Man fight Mysterio, or in the 2017 Spider-Man show, he helped Spider-Man fight a symbiote invasion. And then in Avengers Assemble, in one of the Battle World episodes where Captain America and Black Widow go find help, they find Tony Stark, and he happens to be at the Egyptian place of Battle World, and also Moon Knight was there. So I kind of know a little bit about Moon Knight's character from those little Marvel appearances here and there. But we finally are getting a show, and now let's start to talk about my thoughts on the first episode. Now let's just correct to the chase. There's some things in this episode that I thought were pretty cool to set up for this series. First off, I like the way that they introduce Oscar Isaac's character as Stephen Grant. Obviously, it feels familiar in the way that it's done before, but to me, it seems like that he's a pretty cool person where a lot of people don't really like him. They find him weird, and he's obsessed with Egyptian culture and all this stuff, and just wants to be a tour guide. And it makes him likable, and it makes him fun to be on this adventure with. Along those same lines, I like the supernatural elements of it. Now, the supernatural elements is also negative, which we'll get onto that when we get onto the bad. But the supernatural elements in here that I liked were the parts where you get into this dream sequence and it's like da-da-da-da-da-da-boom, and then you see all these dead bodies around him, and it's like, what just happened? Like, he literally just killed them. At first he was almost attacked, and then now they're all dead. And it's like, it's super cool in the way they do those special effects and stuff. And then also the other cast is pretty good. Ethan Hawke is pretty menacing, though it's also negatives for me in the bad, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. So I like this character, and then the little ending scene where Moon Knight fights the wolf and he takes over the Stephen Grant. It's all satisfying. And it sets you up for the next episode, so I actually really like that ending. And then also I like the fact that they actually mention Finding Nemo and Avatar in the MCU, because I never thought we would actually get the mentioning of Pixar movies in an MCU movie, or a Marvel movie for that matter. And to me, that's just awesome that we got it, because We've been getting references of all these movies like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Santa Claus, Footloose, Star Wars, all these great movies. And the fact that we actually got Finding Nemo and Avatar referenced, that's great. However, there are some problems with this episode, so let's just move on to the bad. Okay, so for me, the worst thing about this episode is that pretty much the entire episode is just confusing. Where basically it starts off with Oscar Isaac's character, Stephen Grant, drinking a cup of water with salt in it, and then placing this glass, breaks it, and then he puts broken glass in his shoes, puts the shoes on, and then walks off. And then it plays 60s music in the background of Marvel Studios logo. So they did add the Eternals thing in it. And then, once it gets into the dream sequence, he, ties himself to his bed, and then he just goes into this different place. His, jaw's broken. He's getting chased by all these guys. And then Ethan Hawke's character is just so confusing as he kind of, kills the woman because they didn't, see the truth or something. I didn't understand that. And then, once he wakes up, 2 days have passed. First it was Friday, and now it's Sunday. And then, Ethan Hawke's character is now chasing him in real life. And then there's this wolf creature that, it's so confusing in the way everything turns out. So that's the problem. It's just so confusing in, what just happened. How can we all just act like something normally just happened? So that's my issues with this episode. But overall, it was a fine, okay first episode of Moon Knight. And this is easily my least favorite of all the MCU premieres that they've released for the shows. So that's my thoughts on this episode. Before I give my final score, be sure to comment down below. What were your thoughts on the first episode of Moon Knight? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Right in between? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section below. With that said, let's get all my scores. Alright, so that's it for my scores, but we're not done here yet. We have one more thing to do before we end this video. Well, a couple things to do before we end this video. And that's to talk about my theories for the future of the MCU with this episode. Now, for the rest of the universe, I don't really have any theories for that, but for the show, I guess you could say that the next episode is pretty much going to lead into probably seeing what happens after Moon Knight kills the wolf creature and all that. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Now let's move on to what are my thoughts on Phase 4 as a whole as of right now with this episode being added. Now, I wouldn't say that this episode really affects my thoughts on Phase 4 as a whole. But as this show, right now, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's not my kind of show. I would think I will like better episodes more. But the first episode was just kind of hard to sit through. So I still am liking Phase 4 though. So now we gotta answer the question, now that I've seen the first episode of Moon Knight, will I be watching other episodes? Obviously yes, because I think it could get better after that little sequence at the end. But even though I didn't like the first episode, I'm still gonna watch the rest of the show because it's the Marvel Universe. I love it, so yeah. So that's everything I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the About section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.